Hello and welcome to a special edition Show Me Mo School Facilities podcast by the Missouri School Plant Managers Association and Joshua Peach as your host. And we've got co-creative director, Mr. Charlie Branham joining us, and all the way from New Jersey, Missouri. It's actually New Jersey, but he's spending quite a bit of time with some folks in Missouri, Mr. Keith Gourlay. And last but far from least, who we're going to talk about, the man of the hour, the new executive director for the National School Plant Managers Association, Mr. Ken Wirtz.
Woo-wee.
So
Look
welcome,
out.
Ken. And before we start, we are sporting some shirts. We didn't intentionally do this, but we're wearing shirts that both of us purchased last week from another director of facilities for education, Christina Renault, in Plymouth, Massachusetts. She's got two 12-year-old kids, and they wanted to do something to make a difference. So they started the Dare to Care shirts that they sell. I think it's on Etsy.
It's on Bonfire.
Bonfire.
It's Dare-to-Care at Bonfire.
Yeah, of course. You've got it all in your head. Thanks.
Well,
I was just going to put the link on this.
you should still do the link, but
yeah.
I wasn't going to promote Be Awesome today. I was going to promote something else.
Yeah, so
right?
Dare to Care, but they give, I think 10% of their profits is going to anti-bullying programs. So that's, when we talk about the kids, a lot of these kids are doing stuff for other kids, and I think that's pretty cool. So if you want a cool shirt, they're comfortable as all get out, check it out. We'll put the link in there. But on to the episode.
On to the episode, Joe.
On to the episode.
Yeah.
So you went through the interview process. You answered a whole bunch of questions. You've been elected or nominated or voted in unanimously to be the new executive director for NSPMA. And Charlie, first thing he said was, before he puts it on LinkedIn, he has to be on our podcast. So
well, here I am.
Yeah, it wasn't an option. It had to be done. And
if I couldn't make it, he was going to ask for Paul. Is that what's going to happen?
Paul was going to be the stand-in. Yeah. So, well, Charlie, you wanted to have him on, so I'll let you be the first person to truly welcome him and ask any questions or talk to him about anything. I'm spilling coffee on a 100-year-old case.
That's good.
Welcome, Kenny. We in Missouri are just extremely excited to have you leading our national association, and we are so pleased that we have someone passionate about our schools and our school facilities and the role that they play in educating our students. And so I've met you recently a couple times through others, but then most recently out in New Jersey, where Keith was host to both of us. And I just so pleased that I feel like you have that passion to represent us. So I guess, Keith, why don't you welcome Kenny as well? And I do have a couple questions, Josh.
All right.
Well, listen, from another friend who's known you guys for a long time, I couldn't be happier. I really see a future for the NSPMA, and that is something that I've always wanted to see for a long time. And I think they picked the right guy. You done good. We're really happy to. We're happy to have you on board. That's for sure.
Well, I am both humbled and honored, and don't think that I'm not going to be leaning on both of you extremely heavily over the upcoming, future of the association, because it takes a village, and it's been unbelievable, the outpouring of support and more the excitement of viewing NSPMA through a different lens and bringing another set of eyes and potentially a change in direction. So I'm excited, and I thank both of you for your support. Otherwise, we wouldn't be going down this road. That's for sure.
I think, Charlie, before you get to your question, just for me, and to put some context on this, I think you became, or you were offered the executive director role while you were on the road last week.
Yes.
So you covered 2,500 miles.
We did. My daughter and I. My daughter is taking this semester off from college, and as one does, we were storing some friends' furniture in my barn, and they moved to Georgia. So you load up the furniture and you drive it to Georgia for them because that's just what you do.
Yeah.
So we went long way around. We hit 13 states in 7 days and covered 2,554 miles.
Yeah.
And we just saw the countryside and we took a long way around. And yeah, while we were in Pennsylvania, I got the for and directly after that, both Keith Watkins and Debbie Shedden reached out to me to let me know that it was a resounding yes. They want to move forward with having me become the new part-time executive director. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited about it.
We'll get into that and part-time. And Kenny's part-time is a whole lot different than most people's part-time. Same thing with you two. You find hours. There's 168 hours in every week for everybody, but I think the three guys that are on this with me, they definitely stretch that out pretty good. But just that the kind of the whole idea in the interview, and this was open. Keith Watkins put it out on LinkedIn and opened it up for anybody that wanted to apply. It resoundingly, because I've known you for a long time, I fielded a lot of phone calls that said, "Is Kenny going for this? Is Kenny going for this? Kenny's the guy. Kenny's the horse I'm putting my money on." And I tried to stay out of it and let you do your thing because you're also part-time executive director for the Massachusetts Facilities Administrators Association. So I think it's pretty much across the board. Everybody has the same sentiment. Like they picked right. They picked the right person for the job.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I hope so. I'm going to throw everything I have at it, and we'll see where it goes. Interestingly, it's not unfamiliar territory for me.
Yeah.
We had the same journey with the MFAA several years ago, trying to figure out who we are as an association. Where do we want to go? And the growth and the track and the layer of professionalism we bring to the industry, it easily transfers over to NSPMA.
Yeah.
Much like what Missouri's doing, what New Jersey's doing, what Ohio's doing, what Pennsylvania's doing. There's a lot of great people doing a lot of great stuff out there. And I think NSPMA has a great base that we can build off of to provide better support for all the states out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great opportunity. I mean, it's funny that, driving to Statesboro, Georgia, I drove that way looking at the world through a different lens. Much like when I'm in Massachusetts, I'll drive long way around to get out to the western part of the state because I want to see what my member communities are up against.
Yeah.
I want to see what they're dealing with. I want to see, the communities that have, the communities that have not, the communities that have less than have not.
Mm-hmm.
And driving down through, Virginia and through Maryland, through Delaware, through beautiful state of New Jersey. Keith, you're doing a great job. Ended up in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. You get to see all that. And I saw some really nice schools. I'm like, oh, that's a nice school. And then I saw some schools like, that's a 50-year-old modular building where they have their early childhood center that has the playground of death. Remember those old metal slides you slide down, you get a sunburn as you go down them? Like, just what I want to go down on an early childhood playground in Georgia.
Yeah.
A screaming 6,000-degree metal slide.
Yeah.
But that's our people, right? That's who we're supporting. And it was a great timing for me to take this trip because I knew once I got back, I was going to be in it hot and heavy. So it was a week away to just kind of take it all in.
Yeah. Well, we're going to let Charlie ask some questions because he says he's got some before he do. Tom O'Donnell, thank you. He says, congratulations, Kenny. Bill Shedden. Bill Shedden says, second, I'd like to congratulate Kenworth for accepting the position of NSPMA's executive director. We're proud and excited to have him lead us and share his vision with NSPMA in our states. And then Deb Shedden says, good morning. This is Debbie Shedden. First, thank you, Charlie and Missouri, for hosting this podcast. So with that, gratitude, Charlie. I'll let you throw your question. If you got some questions out there, throw them out.
I do, Kenny. So as we're all here, the three of us, Keith, you and I are here representing our states, but now with you representing all of us, where are we headed? What do you see forward for us? What's the vision NSPMA host for the nation?
That's a great question, Charlie. And those are some of the questions that they lobbied across the table at me during the interview process. And there's a couple. There's some short term, then some mediocre term, middle ground term, and then some long range planning that needs to go. I think we need to really dust off our strategic plan, and I think we need input from the members. What happens a lot of time, you guys know this too, with any association, you're made up of volunteers, and you can ask as much as you can from volunteers, but you know that there are limitations. So when creating a strategic plan, you really need input from all your membership, from all the states, from everyone to figure out what they need.
Mhm.
Our current strategic plan doesn't have that. It has a vision of what some good intentioned folk put together without really saying, hey, Alaska, how can we help you? Hey, Indiana, who doesn't have an association, how can we help you? So I think first we need to figure out where we can get the most return on investment for what we can provide folks. Second, I think we need to raise our level of professionalism, how we're viewed in the industry. That's always a struggle. You guys know that. We deal with it here in Massachusetts. It's like, oh, facilities director. Yeah, you're just that person that does this kind of stuff. It's like, no, we manage multi-million-dollar operating budgets. We manage second to roads in your community. We manage the most expensive asset that a town owns. This is not just, a gal who, was a custodian that all of a sudden moved up the ranks. This is, it might be a gal who moved up the ranks, but now she is in charge of a $25 million operations budget.
Yeah.
Deal with that professionalism, and it's exciting. I think there needs to be a rebrand, certainly, of how we're approaching and how we're reaching our members. I think the website has some great potential to do that. Post-COVID, I think people are more familiar with online learning. So creating a platform that our members can access for some legitimate professional development, not only for the leaders, but also for support staff, for the folk who work with us on our teams. There's no reason that we can't provide custodial training online. There's no reason we can't provide ladder safety training online. These are the things that I think all of us have been looking for years. I've been loosely involved with NSPMA for the past close to 20 years. I served on their board as an interim. Coincidentally, the year that we put together the executive director's job description. So when I was applying for this job, I'm like, oh, I think I have a copy of that job description. Oh yeah, here it is. So I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot we can do. But short term, we need to do some outreach to let people know that there's a change. And within the first year, Charlie, I would expect that we'll be on good ground to move forward and help our states more than we're currently helping.
Great to hear.
And we got, I'm thinking this is Pete Cantone. Pete
Cantone.
Cantone says, congratulations, Ken. Looking forward to the next step. It's a smart air. I'm thinking that says defense. We get a little cutoff on the text. And then Philip Graham says, congratulations, Ken. So
thank you, Pete. Thank
congratulations are coming in fast and furious in the text.
Classic Pete.
Classic Pete.
Classic
yes.
Pete.
Yeah. Pete says, yes, sir, be awesome. Yeah. The only way Pete knows how to be. What else you got, Charlie? Did he answer all the questions with that one answer? I mean, he kind of covered quite a few bases on that one.
Trying.
He circled the nation on that one, don't you think?
Well, I mean, we are the national school plant managers. We need to figure out.
I was driving over here, and from kind of the outside guy, non-executive director, not a facility director, but have been involved with all of these things for a long time. One of the things I've uncovered in the last couple of months that I think is going to be huge is how the states are how you're going to help the states, but also how the states are going to help you. The NSPMA can essentially be a central depository. Charlie, I'm going to pick on you guys. The indoor air quality checklist that Kyle Gorell and Luke Gard and drawing a blank, third person, going to come to me. But the indoor air quality checklist, it's on their website. It's for the world to use.
Yeah.
And it's really good. Like New Jersey certification program. They got a ton of good stuff going on. Tapping into that and sharing it with all the states members, because I shared the indoor air quality checklist. I was on a call with another state, and they're like, "Hey, we really need to get a handle on this. Is there some resource?" And I sent that, and they were like, "This is awesome." So
yeah, and part of our, I mean, speaking of indoor air quality, so but during this journey of figuring out, is this the right fit for me? Is this the right fit for the NSPMA? Because the interview was both ways. I was interviewing them probably more than they were interviewing me. The number of times Debbie and Bill said, "Thank you for your candor," meaning thank you for your heated response to targeting and prodding us and poking us with a hot poker. It was really good. And reaching out to all my colleagues and saying, "What do you think?" One of the people I reached out to was Dr. Erica Etland, who works for Perkins and Will, and who's an international architectural firm. But she also, I was working with her when she was wrapping up her doctoral studies at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. So she was on the team that created that 9 pillars document saying what it takes to have a healthy building.
Yeah.
She's excited to help the NSPMA take those documents like Charlie has and really target them to make sure that we're creating healthy and safe buildings. She recently was at the State House in Indiana talking to their Ways and Means committee to talk about funding school maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that I think there's a lot of opportunity that we can, from a higher level, go and target and hit some of those things to help support Charlie's indoor air quality, to let people know this is why it matters. Stop cutting maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need to pay for a teacher. I'm like, yeah, I know you need to pay for a teacher, but quite honestly, the building is more important than that one teacher. That one teacher reaches 50 kids. The building supports 500.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't have proper, and we're going off the executive director talk, and that's okay. But if you don't have proper ways and means of managing and providing safe indoor air quality, that teacher that you're paying for is going to be out sick a lot.
Yeah.
And you're going to be paying for a lot of substitute teachers to take that teacher's place.
Yeah.
And the kids are going to be absent, just like the age-old study that says good indoor air quality improves test scores and decreases attendance worries and lowers respiratory. It's been around forever. It's nothing new.
It's been around forever.
It's just how do we handle it? So
and that's the thing that, and Charlie, to your earlier question, part of the thought process is this. So we struggle with reaching people where they're at. We put out best practices as a generic, hey, this is what you have to do. Well, not everyone can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So for the communities that are gateway communities, the communities that are really rural, that are really struggling, that don't have a lot of funding and don't have a lot of resources, how can we give them best practices to meet them where they're at? So it's not a one size fits all. And we've done that in Massachusetts. I'm sure you both have done that in your states as well. We're so diverse. You can't just say, oh, no, you need to change your filters 4 times a year. Well, that's a best practice. I get that. But, the small rural community, we stayed in Floyd, Virginia. You blink and you miss the downtown. They don't have an HVAC technician.
Right.
They don't have the budget. So maybe twice a year is all they're going to get. And that might be good enough for that community. So I think those are some of the long range plans that I see are an opportunity for us, Charlie, that we can really create some great support to meet our members where they're at.
Kenny, what should a state expect from its parent organization? What should we expect?
Well, right now, there's the value add that we bring to the table needs some growth. I would expect that we'll have a digital platform that allows people to share resources, share information, to figure out how neighboring states are doing something. It's hard to benchmark with some of that information for sure. I can't ask about integrated pest management in Massachusetts from someone who's in Georgia. We don't have fire ants. We don't. So there's some data that is geographically limiting as to what we can share nationally. But what I do see is information, like, for example, the federal government released the Infrastructure Act, the IRA. Funds are coming to schools across the country to help put a shot in the arm for renewables, geothermal, solar, wind. Do we have someone in DC from the Department of Energy that can give us an overview of what we can expect with those dollars? Do we partner with the federal government to have them provide our members a webinar explaining it? Those are some of the things that I think bring value. Because right now we're all trying to figure it out. The federal government's trying to figure it out too. No one knows. We all know there's a couple of $1 billion coming. We just don't know how it's going to be delivered. So we're all struggling with that. So things like that, I see. Having a seat at the table, partnering with groups like International ASBO. Who's the woman out in Oregon?
Angie Peterman.
And Angie, who's also in Oregon right now.
Okay.
And any event, during the COVID response, International ASBO had a seat at the table to come up with a plan on how we're going to safely operate schools. NSPMA did not. So we have non-facilities people making facilities decisions on a national level that are going to impact how all of our states operate our buildings. And I just use that as one example. You know, there's a number of ways that we need to be more visible on a national level with the federal government to let them know, hey, we're here. If you're going to do something, please ask us before you just give another unfunded mandate. So I think that's a big piece of value that we can bring to the states. That improving communication between states, providing different professional development opportunities, raising awareness of the level of professionalism, providing leadership training. I mean, both of your conferences are amazing, and you really, I think we all share a similar view on these things, that we can set up a conference that you're going to learn about roofs, you're going to learn about mill thickness of trash liners, you're going to learn about, insulation in walls. Whoop-de-doo. What we really need is we need to know how to manage a difficult staff member. We need to learn how to do evaluations. We need to know how to deal with stress during difficult times. There's a lot of professional development that our industry has been woefully underserved for years. And I think that's a great piece that I think NSPMA should bring to the table. But with anything, Charlie, I'm passionate about a lot of things, but it's really the board's vision and the board's message and the board's direction that my job is to support. I'll help, I'll lead, I'll give them information, I'll bring ideas to the table, but the board has to be behind it as well. And affiliate members need to speak up as well. And that's what I think is the important piece of it can't just be the Ken show, much like it just can't be the Charlie show or the Keith show. It's easy for us to be pigeonholed into that because we're the person who's in front of the microphone all the time. But there's so many people behind that. Our job and my job is to serve those people. And as long as it aligns with me ethically, morally, spiritually, all that kind of fun stuff, and something I'm passionate about, I'm ready to knock it out of the park.
Sherry
Lewis. That's who it is.
Yeah, she was
that's who it is.
She worked in a prison, I think.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah,
she's amazing. So that's one of my people I'm going to reach out to in Oregon, because Oregon doesn't have a lot of participation. I have to reach out to Sherry. We were on a panel presentation together during COVID where we tore into someone together from the federal government who was making recommendations that just weren't applicable. They wouldn't fit. And both Sherry and I are like, what are you talking about, dude? I think he was from Johns Hopkins. I'm like, that's not real. What you're saying isn't real. So we need more of that. We need more colleagues and peers who are recognized and who are willing to help support our endeavors. Yeah.
It's interesting, Charlie. I think you asked me the question that had me say, about being patient. You said, what do you want? What are you looking for? Or something like that. And I said, well, in 5 years, I want to be the person in Missouri that every facility director in the state, when they need something, they know to call me first. Doesn't matter what it is. I want to be the trusted resource. And I think based on what Ken just said and the ASBO buy-in for Ken, because some states have already, you've already talked to some states and you've already got some experience in the states. It's pretty evident that ASBOs around the country, and I'm sure ASBO International, they want someone to be at the table from a national level to represent the best practices and best needs from a facility aspect. and now they potentially have that understanding. We're seeing more. Keith, I saw, executive director for New Jersey ASBO at your conference. I'm sure she leans on you. Her and her organization lean on you for doing things. I think that's one of those things. And AASA, the superintendent's group too, is another one to start to lean into, because the biggest thing that I always make my comments on when I'm talking about when I'm in my day job working with facility directors is, if you don't have the answer, how do you expect anybody above you to? So if you don't know what you're looking, if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know that, if you don't know your data, then your business manager, superintendent isn't, and then they're just making decisions based on best guess.
Right.
And you're going to be able to provide it so that they're giving it on best information. And
right.
That's pretty cool. So,
and as all four of us know, it's an interesting opportunity to try to educate educators about our world. And that's putting it lightly. Those partnerships that Josh is talking about, I've made them in Massachusetts. We're partners with our superintendents, with our business officials. We've partnered with all of the regulatory bodies for state agencies. There's no reason we can't and shouldn't do the same thing with our federal counterparts. And I'm excited about it. And my wife tries to temper my passion, oftentimes saying, you want a speedboat and your board wants a cruise ship. You need to figure out somewhere in between, because I just want to go, and I want to go fast, and I want to go. So we'll find that balancing act somewhere in between, so that way I don't scare people off with my passion. But I think there's a lot of excitement right now from a lot of groups that I'm humbled, but I'm also looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah. Well, and that comes to the next point, which is, this is a part-time.
Yeah.
You just went through 3 full-time jobs. And I think it's important that all the states we got a lot of people watching us, and there'll be a lot of people listening to this. You're going to need to let people know what you need, not just from the board and surveying and everything else, because rising tide floats all ships.
Yeah.
We all want to be rowing this together with you. So turning this part-time position into a full-time opportunity of making a difference. I think a lot of folks are going to, like you said it right out of the gate, you're going to be leaning on Charlie and Keith, and they're all for it. There's going to be 48 other states.
And part of that lean is, it's, so everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, right? And me coming to the table, I just bring some different strengths that hopefully balance out the things that I struggle with. I'm a big proponent for, sharing information and resources using a Google platform.
Mm-hmm.
There's with all the technology and all the
Charlie's not, you can't see this, but Charlie's not his head, because he's all about Google platform.
Right. But there's no reason that we all can't have meetings and all share information and all make progress virtually from our own offices in our own states. It's inconceivable to think that we're going to get 50 executive directors together in one room to have a 3-hour meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen. But if it's part of something larger, well, that makes sense. If it's a leadership summit where we can all spend 2 days together, awesome. It's windshield time. It's return on investment. I mean, we do the same thing, right? If I'm driving out to Western Mass, I'm making 4 meetings along the way.
Yep.
If I have to go into Boston and meet with someone, I'm having lunch with the head of the Department of Energy on the same day. Then I'm going to go drive down the street and have a pint with someone else. I'm going to have 3 or 4 meetings on that same day. How NSPMA has been operating, it makes it difficult to achieve as much as we could, just because it needs to just kind of, in my view, it needs to shift to a more digital platform.
Mm-hmm.
We still need that in-person feel. I'm still a huge proponent for breaking bread. I think that, after 5 o'clock, when the sessions are done, that's really where the magic happens. That's
Mm-hmm.
where you make these connections, where you make these lifelong friends, who I can call up on any given Tuesday and say, Keith, I'm losing my mind. What do you think about this? Charlie, oh my God, I'm ready to, whatever it is. So it's a balancing act, but
Mm-hmm.
it's exciting. I don't know. That's the only thing I can say. I'm really I'm blown away by the outpour of support and shared excitement about this. It's going to be a really cool ride. And I would think within 5 years, this job will likely morph into more.
Yeah.
Whether it's me, whether it's someone else, whether it's two people doing two part-time jobs, who knows?
Yeah.
It's too far ahead to project, but I can see the association growing. One of my targets, Charlie, to talk about, shop and internal stuff, is we really need to diversify our business portfolio. We're kind of a one-trick pony right now. So, and you and I talked about this, and Keith, you and I talked about this as well. So it's just looking at business models. It's figuring out, where are we going to get our best ROI with not just money, but time spent on achieving something. The strategic plan is a good starting point, but some of the goals and some of the aspirations in the current strategic plan are just too lofty. They're not achievable, not with the current funding and not with the current staffing. So it's how do you temper that, and how do you really hone in on what's achievable year 1, year 2, year 3, year 5, and then get people to buy into the concept.
You got us all.
Yeah.
You got us all speechless here. That's pretty good. No, I think this is. This is just. I've watched you. You and I were going on 19 years.
19 years, my friend.
19
Jeez.
years ago. Actually, it was May 1st. Holy mackerel.
Look at that.
May 1st, 2004 is when I started my previous career today. I had no idea. It was 19 years ago. And it's going to be 19 years ago in about 3 weeks.
Happy anniversary, Josh.
It'll be about 19 years ago in 3 weeks from now that I was chasing you in Stonehill College in the parking lot. And I've gotten the opportunity to go from a salesperson chasing a prospective client to having a client, to having a friend, to having a brother that I get to come to his house. I'm in his barn with him, in case anybody didn't know. That's why we get the split screen.
We're in the intergalactic headquarters.
But I got to watch you, make it wasn't a difficult decision. I thought it was a difficult decision to go from, a full-time facility director in a very great school district.
Great school district, yeah.
To retire early and take on a part-time role as an executive director outside your comfort zone in some ways, and kill it and just grow this organization. When I chased you 19 years ago, it was an association that had 3 rows of companies in a room that you guys basically did, 30 facility directors did a parade around the room. And then you'd had, a handful of facility directors down the Cape for a couple of days for an event, for just a professional development event. And now you've taken it to, renting out the DCU Center in Worcester, which is a huge, huge facility, and having hundreds of attendees, having, 150 vendors, a wait list, and just grow your membership, your custodial trainings that have hundreds. You just did it 2 weeks ago. Have hundreds of people. So your vision and your passion and what you chase after when you see something is it's extraordinary. It's something
thanks.
We don't talk about it a lot because that's what friends do. We don't talk about this kind of stuff until we absolutely have to. But I'm ecstatic. I'm so excited to see what you do, and I hope you keep driving the speedboat. Don't worry about the cruise ships. There'll be a happy medium someplace.
I'll wave to him as I blast by.
Yeah.
120.
There you go.
Yeah. So we got a couple of comments. Pete says, "Classic Ken. Remote communication is critically important to us. Addressing. Let's see here. We got a whole bunch of stuff I got to catch up on. Yeah, I want to make sure we address all these. This is from Bill and Deb Shedden. Ken's vision and passion are exactly what NSPMA needs and why we hired him, and he has 100% of my and Debbie's support as well." And then Bill Shedden says, "Addressing that rural need, that's where Bill and I live. I sit on my school board and listen to all kinds of facility issues. I have the only K-12 school in our state, 125 students." Casey Hausman, love the podcast. Thank you, Josh and Charlie. Ken, I look forward to working with you and growing NSPMA. And then, so being able to give our states information that will assist every type of school district is paramount, from Bill and Deb Shedden. So we got quite a few folks
Look at that.
chiming in here, which is great.
Got them all
Thank you.
sparked up.
Yeah, we got,
All right.
we got a little spark here
Little-
first thing on May
little-
1st, getting
little
things
fire
going.
in the belly. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. So no, this has been great, guys. You got any last words of encouragement or questions or anything? And if anybody's got any questions that they can post right on the chat here, I'm following along pretty good. I got a little bit behind there.
Can I just go back to the training piece for a minute?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
And this is one of the things that we realized here in New Jersey with the CEFM program and everything else. And I'm in the middle of a class right now with ASBO doing their certification here in New Jersey. And I've got 30 in the class. We've got another class of 30 going on in South Jersey. And what I'm finding out is that they are just cold, stone cold, haven't got a clue about code or anything else. Now, I want you to imagine our people, your people, walking into this job nowadays with nothing, okay? Not having any clue of what goes on code-wise or anything else. I can't even begin to imagine walking in the doors of a school and taking on the job of facility manager, director of facilities, whatever you want to call it, and trying to run something and have not an idea. So the training piece for me is huge, whether it be, and I understand that it's going to be different across all of the states. That's one of the challenges you're going to have doing this part-time. We'll talk about that more. Part-time. So yeah, I think the training piece for me is huge because we've just got so many out there that want to learn, that just don't have it's not the ability. They want to learn. It's just there's nobody there for them. Right. And
Right.
I think that's where we come in. That's where
that's a great point, Keith. And I think there's some opportunity to, like you said, codes are always hard because every state thinks they're better than the other states. So we take the national code and then we tweak it a little bit to meet our needs. Yeah, but the message, those people who are walking in and become shocked. It's those are the people we need to reach and let them know, take a breath. You're not alone. There's other folks who are colleagues who have been through the same thing, the deer in the headlights kind of vibe. It's providing them a format for them to be heard, and then to provide them kind of, oh, you're in this state, you should really connect with this person. Or have you partnered with your building inspector and your fire chief, because they're your local code officials in your community. The code might say something, but Chief Smith, he thinks something different, and you've got to keep the chief happy. So you better go have a cup of coffee with that chief and figure out what you need in that community. So there's a lot of different things that we know because we've been at it for a long time.
Yeah.
That bringing these new folks, like in Massachusetts, we're seeing so much turnover of our current facilities directors. We're seeing positions that are left open for a year because no one's applying for them. Because who in their right mind would want to take on this job? So it's trying to balance that out too, to make the job, to have people understand that the job is an amazing opportunity. And it's not just, because of the salary, because of the benefits, because of whatever. It's because your career impacts so many lives. I still remember the first time I was in Sharon, when it was my 13th year, and I realized the kids that were graduating that year were the same kindergartners the year I started.
Yeah.
I saw these children go through their entire public education cycle. And if I didn't do my best, what does that say for them? And a lot of times our members lose sight of that. I know I did. You get stuck in the business, the day-to-day business. But there's a lot of those pieces that, it's reminding folks of the importance of connecting with what we do and why we do it. Some people do it well. Some people struggle with it. And it's just, getting the message out, because that's a common message that's shared with everybody. I don't care what state you're from. If you're not in it to try and help the kids out, you shouldn't be in it.
There's just so much that we need to do what we do.
Oh yeah.
You know, the package is unbelievable, all the way from the attitude, the patience, and it's just, there's so much.
Well,
it's not for everybody, but
it is not.
It's not for everybody.
And Keith, the same goes for teachers, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Post-COVID, teachers are struggling.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So if we can take one nuisance away from a teacher's day and allow them to focus on what their core mission is, all the better. If they've got a Univent heater that's clicking away because some kid dropped a crayon box in it, and it's driving the teacher the bananas, well, that doesn't help them. Or if you have an unstable temperature where the teacher spends the entire day worrying if they're going to have heat or not, well, then they're not worrying about the student who's struggling in the second row. So there's a lot of pieces to it, and it's trying to bridge those gaps. You know, we've always been so compartmentalized of, oh, the teachers are over there, stupid teachers union. Oh my God, the administration. It's we've grown into a culture where we like to combat each other versus we're all rowing the same ship together. So I think that's where the national also has some opportunity to change the dialogue and to build those bridges and to kind of move us in a direction where we're all trying to achieve the same thing, which is provide safe and healthy learning environments for our teachers and kids.
Yeah. And then the piece that I think, Keith, is one of the things is the younger folks coming in that we go, what are you thinking? And in 1984, whenever you started, Keith, I'm sure people said, what were you thinking? And being a facility director back then from being today is night and day. It is way more complex. There is a lot more. The laundry list of to-dos is a lot longer. And so getting these younger workforce entry level new facility directors to come in, we got to get them experience faster, right? You got to get them, and it's mentorship, it's guidance, it's best practice, it's a lot of different things. And we got about a couple minutes because you got to wrap up at 10, right?
Yep.
And we get Lightning Leo, your former IT director, says we love the Ken show. And then Pete Cantone came back. There are things that can be trained and transcend state-specific needs, and some things that are state-specific. The clearer you are on who you can contribute what, the more effective the collaboration. And then Leo Brem says they appreciate clean bathrooms and being able to open windows too.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. So no better words coming from the IT director than that.
Right.
Clean bathrooms and open the windows too.
It's not rocket science.
But no, this is great. And we're going to get off of this. And Kenny's going to officially put his LinkedIn status as NSPMA Executive Director. So we beat LinkedIn on this one, which is great.
Beat social media. Yeah. It's look at you.
Yeah,
you guys are trailblazers.
Yeah, that's what we tried. We tried.
It's all
to be.
Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie the trailblazer, and he brought Keith and I along for the ride. So that's been a fun week putting this together. And
we are the Show Me State, and we do occupy the center of the United States, Josh.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to checking out more of the Show Me State at your conference this coming year. So I'm excited about that opportunity. And
I think Keith Gourlay needs to come too. I think the East Coast, maybe we need to make a road trip, pick up Keith on the way. Pick up New York, Keith, and then New Jersey.
Give me a couple days to recover from my 2,500 miles I just drove.
Yeah.
But then yes, absolutely, we will drive out to Missouri, and we're going to stop in every honky tonk along the way. It's going to be great.
I think we will do it.
I'll fly out and ride with you if that's the case.
Oh, now we've got a challenge.
Look out!
We might need to get a conversion van or something a 1987. Yeah, here we go. Keith, send us your address. We'll put it in the GPS for the September.
Okay, sounds like a deal.
Well, this has been great, guys. I appreciate everybody making the time. Like I said, we needed to beat LinkedIn on this one, so appreciate it, Charlie. Great idea. I think a great start to what's sure to be a massive impact, a ripple effect. As Charlie says, he's in the center of the country. I think this is going to ripple out and be a tidal wave on the coast to coast. So congratulations, first and foremost.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. And guys, thank you for hosting me and for all the support through this process. I'm excited and getting ready to roll up the sleeves and tear into it.
Yeah, and we'll close with Chris Ruth says, great conversation to start the week. Thanks, Josh and Charlie, for putting this on. Congrats, Ken. And Pete says, good luck, Ken. Be awesome. So I think that's going to do it here, guys. Go about your days and enjoy. And I'm going to get out of here. So in the meantime, thanks for listening, everybody, and watching for our first live. If you can follow us on LinkedIn at the Show Me Mo School Facilities podcast channel. We're going to start doing live on YouTube, but once we hit the number of followers on that page on LinkedIn, we can do them live on LinkedIn as well. Because this is kind of fun, Charlie. These live ones, I kind of like this better than the recorded versions, because we get a lot of on the fly comments. So that'll do it from here, and we will talk to everybody soon.
Thanks, everyone.